And we are live again for another edition of Fleetcast, and it's on a Sunday this time. We are back to our original OG slot, but this is a bit of a normal episode, though it is on a special day. So today we have got Endy with us, and as it's Obsidian Day weekend, we have got the ever lovely Kris, who is here to actually do his first proper review on the podcast. He's no longer on a special episode, he is now on official episode. How are you two doing today?
Yes. So I am doing great. We just had Cypher run an Enterprise era episode of Star Trek Adventures. That was amazing. And obviously a few hours ago, Emu ran the Let's Write episode for us based around X-Men Avalon, and really inspirational to me. So, absolutely, I'm great. Kris, how have you been today?
I'm amazing. I've just been playing along with the Star Trek Adventures. It was actually my first introduction to watching animated series by watching this. Obviously, I've watched it vicariously through you guys and your reviews, but this is the first real experience of watching it.
Yeah.
And yeah, good. I'm feeling good.
Okay, so
right.
what were your thoughts going into this episode, Kris? Because obviously this is the first time that you've proper watched it, you're proper appearing on here. What did you think on this episode as a whole?
I liked it. I would say going into it, I thought I obviously saw the images that you put up, the screenshots, and I've photoshopped a few of them. So I kind of knew the style, but as soon as I went into it, it was, although I've never seen it before, it was pure nostalgia. It was like watching one of the original series episodes that I've watched. It was great, yeah. Everything that I thought it would be, and good, yeah.
Yeah. See, I went into this episode and I didn't actually enjoy this episode. I'm going to be 100% truthful. I couldn't get into this episode no matter what I did. I watched this episode twice, and every time I just couldn't get into it. I got distracted doing this, got distracted doing that. I kept rewinding it to try and see if I'd missed points. I really, really didn't enjoy this episode, and this is the first time I can say that I didn't enjoy an episode, because I've enjoyed every other episode, even the episodes that were really, really bad. Mm-hmm. I just didn't enjoy this one, and it frustrates me that I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, because for me, okay, full disclosure right now, on the Midway, I have a character who is currently ensconced in his second date on the holographic wreck deck of his ship on a Constitution. So this episode is relevant to what I've been writing recently. Kind of catching my eye there. But I just kind of sit there and I'm like, yeah, this is a great episode, because it's the first holodeck episode. It's one of the first computer gets sentient episode. And you can tell that Majel is having a ball.
Yes. I just couldn't get into this episode. I think I watched this episode at the wrong time. Twice.
I'm afraid that might be the case, yes.
Yeah, I didn't get into this episode, but let's get into what happens in this episode, because I didn't enjoy this episode. I did like some parts of it, and obviously we'll get into those parts as we go further along, but this episode, obviously we get into it, and straight away they are attacked by 3 Romulan battlecruisers, and I didn't expect it to be a Romulan episode for the title. I don't know about you, Kris. I didn't expect it to have them as characters in this type of episode.
No, I didn't either.
No.
I didn't either.
So,
I will grant that.
I was just going to say, according to me facts that I've got for this episode as well, it's the first appearance of the Romulans on screen.
No, No, it's the last appearance until 1988. It's actually the third
Oh, is it the
appearance in...
last?
Yeah,
You've probably put that
it
down.
is the third in TAS. No, don't worry. But it's the third in TAS, and it is their final appearance until the neutral zone in 1988. So, yeah, back in the time trap, we said farewell to the Klingons for 6 years until TMP. And here in Practical Joker, we say a hearty goodbye to the Romulans. But the problem is that in the time trap, the Klingons were kind of pivotal. Here in the Practical Joker, it doesn't matter that it's the Romulans.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, but it just didn't... For a title that's the Practical Joker, you don't expect Romulans to feature, because they are not exactly known for their jokes, even though they're not involved in it.
Humor?
Yeah, they're not exactly known for it. And obviously Kirk, I kind of feel that in this moment though, Kirk is actually a good captain. You know, he orders the ship straight away into a nearby, you know, gas giant to hide, knowing that the Romulans wouldn't follow them.
So I want to kind of highlight that. To me, this didn't feel like Kirk was running into something. Literally, he was saying, okay, I am outnumbered by Romulans. On one side, I have certain death. If we take this ship into this field, into this nebula, whatever, I know that I can have a chance at saving my crew. And it's discretion being the better part of valor, and Kirk being sort of the great captain that a lot of us who are TOS fans expect that you might not, because you've only come to like
really
him
don't
because of TAS.
I really don't rate him as a captain. I even like the episodes that I have seen of TOS and the animated series, he gets rated very, very low. Like, he is actually below Lorca on my scale of captains, and that is saying something because, you know, the guy is from the mirror universe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
you know,
yes.
but you know, we're as we all say, we're all entitled to opinions on characters, and I know that many people will probably agree with me that they rate Lorca higher than Kirk as a captain. But yes, this episode, I just didn't expect it to be Romulans. I didn't expect it to be just how the episode evolved. I didn't expect it to be like that.
Yeah, and I like the surprises. I do like that, personally. So yeah. So yeah, we go into this field of highly charged subatomic particles, which, if that isn't the most generic description I've ever heard.
Yes, it is very generic.
Just kind of...
Yeah, it's the run of the mill. It's basically the monster of the week for Star Trek.
Yeah, pretty much. And then Scotty going, hold together, little darling, hold together. And it's like, dude, it is your ship. You should know. That's where I kind of come at this one.
Yeah.
But this is still kind of the cold open, as weird as it sounds. Because it really doesn't get into it until after they get past the cloud. So, yeah. Kris, you want to take the baton from here?
What, from the
cloud?
From the actual introduction?
Yeah.
From the cloud?
Obviously, from the cloud.
When they first start hearing this disembodied laugh and stuff like that.
Yes.
No kidding, Phoebe. Got you done dirty here. But it's not the laugh that happens first. It's that they're eating lunch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right? And their glasses become basically trick glasses. And I can actually... At some point, I'll have to, like, put these up in in the server. But first off, we get the montage of lunch, where everybody gets splashed with who knows what. And then as Kirk is trying to laugh at it, what happens to his fork?
It kind of
Bendy
goes,
fork.
it turns to rubber.
Yeah, exactly. And can we just talk about why are they using like seafood forks, normal stuff, and what the hell is up with those cups to begin with?
Why do they actually have joke forks and joke cups on the ship?
Right?
I just assumed they were from the replicators, or the replimats as they're called then. I just assumed it was from there. I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think too much into those type of details. That I never have in episodes. I just accept the fact that they are there.
Yeah.
Replicators.
Yeah, the computer just replicated them.
Yeah.
But also, can we just say one of the better images? Okay, there are a couple of great images on the bridge for this episode. Spock finds this new random viewer on his desk, right? On the bridge.
Yeah.
And what's his first reaction?
Look at it? Well, to be fair, I would do exactly the same.
Yeah, it's... You
I mean, who wouldn't, right?
Yeah.
New button,
and then
push
ends
it.
up with the eyeshadow.
Yeah,
right?
It feels very much like the practical jokes they're very childish, you know, they're very 70s in design. I wouldn't say that we would necessarily do those type of jokes now. I can't. Well, I don't know. Kris might, do that to his son. Put some shoe polish around the binoculars and stuff.
Yep.
But they're not overly jokes that you would possibly do. I don't know if anyone else finds it, but I find that sort of practical jokes are a little bit more nastier nowadays. They're not quite as, I don't want to say childish but that's the only way I can kind of really describe it. They are a little bit more nasty in their intent. But yeah, these jokes.
You laugh at them, not with them.
Yeah, that's a really good phrase.
Yeah.
It's laughing at them and not with, because these jokes are quite funny, and I did find, and the fact that we've also got my favourite moment of this episode, and I've actually got the image for this one, is when there is Kirk is a jerk picture stuck to his back.
Yes, well he gets his new clean uniforms.
Yes.
And right on the back is a phrase that has become common and was actually used in fandom after his appearance on Saturday Night Live and a few other places. Kirk is a jerk. So yes.
Yes, and obviously you've kind of got, everyone suspects that it's different crew members having a laugh, and obviously they kind of don't really get into the fact that it's any more serious until sort of several minutes, after this. And obviously, as the jokes kind of get more and more serious, you've got ice. You've got like the I don't know if I didn't see why the weather control systems or the those on the ship being tampered with, or whether that was mentioned. But then obviously then we had fog, which obviously hints back into yesterday's episode.
Sub Rosa, yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I will say, Phoebe, that is fighting words for 70s TV. And no, Emu, practical jokes do not involve hitting people, because if you have to hit somebody, it's not funny anymore. But yeah, it's definitely, these are fighting words, and then we get into the fog, which leads back into Sub Rosa, and Kirk and Spock clinging to each other.
Yes.
Those of you who are not can't see the image. Here's one for all the Slash fans.
Yes, this very much probably wrote, a good million fanfics back in the day. And probably still brings them up nowadays. But yeah, and obviously you've then got Even at this point, they still think a crew member is responsible for it. They don't look outside of the box, like outside of the ship,
Right.
or outside of the things that they see on the ship. And I just found
I'm
that
surprised at how quickly.
yeah, they didn't think it was anything more. And I just feel like the writing on this episode wasn't as good because of that, because we've had brilliant episodes where they instantly go to, okay, something's happening, it's outside the ship, it's something out of our control. But in this episode, they're very much going, oh, it's the crew, the crew are just having fun. And they're not thinking anything else, even at the stage when they know that probably Starfleet officers aren't necessarily going to goof off like that. I just found it very jarring to my expectations.
We've seen Lieutenant Riley pull some shtick like this, you know.
I don't know who that is, I'm afraid.
Right, he's one of the characters from TOS who kind of reoccurs a couple times.
Yeah. So I mean, from what I've expected of Starfleet officers from watching, you know, Discovery, Next Generation, Voyager, Enterprise, they're not the type of people to goof off. But yeah, no, I just found the characterization. It wasn't what I expected of the characters, and this is why I felt very much like I just couldn't get into this episode.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
Kris, Mrs. Emu is fawning over Chris's beautiful anime eyes. So you need to give her.
No.
This is Mrs. Emu.
Hi, Mrs. Emu.
And Phoebe
Yes.
says you do have lovely eyes and those lashes.
Oh,
Yes,
thanks. I
you
grew
do.
them myself.
You did grow them yourself, but yeah, I found this.
I assure you, if my eyes were better in camera, we would be a matched set.
To be fair,
there.
I've got to give Kris absolutely kudos for how he looks on the screen here. His setup
Yes.
is absolutely amazing, and your lighting. Is this the new screen that you were talking about? Is that lighting you up?
No, this is me phone and a ring cam. A ring light.
Well, it works for you.
Son of a gun.
It very much works for you.
Thanks.
Okay,
Not embarrassed at all now.
Oh, bless
no,
you.
you're doing an amazing job.
Bless you.
If I have to go through all this trouble to get this, and you just have a phone and a ring light, I mean, come on.
I mean-
Yes.
That's all I've got. As long as it doesn't shine off the bald patch, I'm alright.
We can't see the bald patch. But
We can't at all.
The illusion's still there.
Yes.
But what I do like about this episode is what happens next, because we see the rec room and we see the holodeck for the first time,
Yes.
which I absolutely love. The fact that, you know, McCoy, Uhura and Sulu, they hope to escape into the rec room, and
Yes.
Without investigating.
I like it because I get to see the rec room. You got to remember, I write on a Connie class ship, and we don't get to see the rec room often. So it's nice to be able to
No,
see,
not often at all.
to see what it looks like, and I kind of like that. I got to see it. But yeah, I feel very much like, yes, they hide in the rec room, but like you said, they didn't investigate it.
Right.
What's
Well,
that all
actually,
about?
can I just ask, why does it have an unoccupied sign like a bathroom?
70s?
There's too many people have walked in on horrible programs.
Yes.
Oh,
I think it should be something that continued, to be fair. The amount right, question for you. Can you imagine how many times people have walked in on Riker? Just saying.
oh.
I assume he would lock the door.
You'd assume. Oh, you
Just saying. Riker.
Riker, nothing Barclay.
Or you know, Harry Kim. Just
Well, that's the whole other thing, yeah.
just saying, just throwing that out there to the pod people.
How about
That's
How about Janeway? Computer, delete the wife.
Yeah, that's a whole other kettle of fish, and we are definitely not discussing that tonight. But yeah, it just kind of, this whole episode just vibes with me wrong. I've not got many nice things to say about it, because I just find that these Starfleet officers are very much not being Starfleet officers, and it's
see, I don't entirely agree, but I also, I guess I have always given this show a wider berth than you do. And we know this.
I give it a wide berth. I think I've been quite diplomatic in some of my my reasonings. I just have a very, very different viewpoint, and obviously the fact is my Star Trek experience is the Next Generation and Voyager, and those ones. I didn't watch these until until 30 episodes ago of Fleetcast.
Yes.
I didn't watch that, so I feel like all Trek is good Trek, but I don't have to like all of it. I can have that opinion that some of them just doesn't vibe with me. And as Emu said further up, me and him, obviously, we both watched 3 episodes that people had voted on, and both of us struggled. Even
where to me those are episodes that are close to my heart.
But you watched them before you've watched other Star Trek.
No, actually.
No?
Remember, I was born. When I say I was born 6 months before Next Generation, I'm not joking. Okay? Some of my earliest memories.
But you watched it as a child, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I started with TNG, and then watched TOS.
Yeah, but that's we've not experienced that until me and Emu are in our 30s, so we haven't watched it until now, and obviously it's a very, very different viewpoint as what you would have watched it as a child.
I guess, yeah.
Getting back to this episode,
yeah,
they go into the holodeck. There is, they're in the woodlands, but they can't find any escape, and obviously the woodland scene becomes more and more dangerous, doesn't it?
Well, they're not trying to escape at first. What happens is that they get knocked into a pit by the computer. And this is where the practical jokes start turning negative.
Yeah.
This is where the computer starts becoming a little bit less helpful. And where I think this is the thing. The computer is a practical joker. It's not trying to kill them.
Yeah.
Right?
Though I would say that view is a bit, because obviously we've kind of got the snowstorm, and then we've got the hedge maze, and then we've got the the deep pit covered in the branches and the leaves and stuff. So they do go through all these type of things before they kind of do get rescued. And obviously all these things happen. And then they realise that it's the Enterprise's computer.
Well, Spock realizes it during the fog scene.
Okay.
And then starts
from the sound
acting.
Of the voice. From the sound of the laugh, he recognises it.
Exactly. Well, you know why he recognises it? Because it's Christine laughing. There you go.
And it wasn't me. It wasn't me who brought up Chapel. It wasn't me.
You didn't have to.
I didn't have to.
You've trained me.
It wasn't.
You've trained me. You've trained me. But yes, it's because it was Chapel laughing that made him realize it's the computer. And yet, Phoebe, wait, you don't like Buffy? We have to have discussions.
But as she's put in the agreement that she didn't watch it at the same time as everyone else did. Back in the 90s and the early noughties, she didn't watch it, so she doesn't have those connections that me. I wanted to be a potential. I wanted to be a potential Slayer. I wanted to be Buffy. I wanted the vampire boyfriend as well. But she doesn't. She doesn't have those feels. And to be fair, I think
I looked up Xander.
I think that's probably safer because 30 years on, and I'm still obsessed with David Boreas. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, wait a minute. David Boreanaz is still the best version of Hal Jordan. He's still the best Green Lantern.
He is.
And Bones
was the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern.
We're talking about the animated series, not a complete joke. Thank you.
And yes, Charmed is still cool, but yes, we don't have those.
Charmed was great.
We don't have those connections, and this is why I find these are quite interesting, because we don't have those connections. You watched it as a child. I am literally watching it as we discuss this. And
yes.
as is Kris. Kris, what did you think of these scenes with the holodecks and stuff?
A bit weird, yeah. As they were going through, I do get the points you were saying. They're not acting like officers. They basically just went, oh yeah, all these weird things are happening to the ship. Anyway, let's go to the beach. Oh no, let's go for a walk in the forest. It was a bit weird, but I just thought time frame from a 20-minute cartoon, so I kind of forgave it for that.
Yes.
That's the reason in my head I put it down to. I didn't hold it against it.
Oh, I hold it against it.
And then
Nah, see, I mean, we've seen that they can do a good story in this time frame.
Yeah, this episode.
But this is definitely an episode where McCoy is at his most escapist and at his least professional. I will grant that.
Yes,
he tries to get away.
And Scotty, he just flies off the handle, gets a pie to the face and everything, and he's like, well, what's he called? Arex. He nearly court-martialed him. Yeah? Nearly court-martialed him.
Have you ever been pied in the face? It is an infuriating experience.
It's not really...
I don't want to see on camera.
It's behave. But yes... So it turns out the practical Joker is the Enterprise itself. It's been affected by the ship's passage through the energy field, and obviously, it then decides it wants to play jokes on the Romulans for the damage it caused earlier.
We're getting a little ahead of ourselves before that, because that's a few minutes on from now. Because we have the holodeck issue where things are going wrong, right?
Yeah.
And oh god, I'm sorry. I'm trying to read your shirt, Kris.
Oh, it's the Nerdy Up North one.
Nerdy Up North one.
Oh, okay. Because the fact that you're backwards and the R is backwards. No, I just saw Russian there. I'm sorry. My head just went, wait, how do I read that in Russian? We get through the holodeck, and they're stuck there. We get them out by cutting straight through the hedge maze. Which, come on. I also, speaking of the alert conditions that we've talked about a couple times, Kirk actually uses General Alert properly here. Because the computer is against them. So why didn't they just use the shuttlecraft? Please explain that to me. But then the computer starts going into puns once, that's for me to know and you to find out and so on. But this is where I really realized Major must have had a ball recording it. Release my officers. Say please.
Yeah, I can literally imagine that she is literally doing the back and forth in a sound booth with
Sugar on top.
Yeah,
Shatner.
Yeah,
losing her shit. Yes.
Yeah, I can literally just imagine it. That is my personal headcanon for how they filmed this episode.
Imagine Troy looking at Kirk. Say, pretty, please.
Yeah, I can just
with
imagine it.
Sugar on.
Yeah. I can also imagine that she made Roddenberry,
Yep.
I can imagine that she made him write that for this episode.
Yes. For her, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's my personal headcanon.
I'm there with you. I hope that that's right, because this definitely feels like an episode where Majel got to cut loose.
Yeah.
And she doesn't get that anywhere near enough. Though I do like that Scotty at least admits, make up your monumental mind. Yeah, that the computer is still smart. It's just nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Didn't they describe it as having a mental breakdown or something? Or a mental episode?
Yeah.
It's a bit weird from me.
Well,
yeah, but this is actually one of those points where I actually did forgive it for being the 70s. I did actually forgive it because obviously attitudes were different. I did actually forgive it for this.
What he's describing, what Spock is describing, what we would now call bit flipping. Basically that it took a few cosmic rays and ended up with data corruption. So we would call it bit flipping or data corruption now. Spock calling it a nervous breakdown is merely an explanation to the humans, to the people that he knows are less logical than him.
Yeah.
About what is occurring.
I would have took bit flipping.
Yeah, you would have. And I would have, but the problem is that, remember, Uhura's not on the bridge right now. Scotty's not on the bridge right now. The smart people are not on the bridge. He has to put up with Mares and Kirk and Arix.
Yeah, it's not the best. It's not the best people on the bridge at this point.
And then we get laughing gas. Which, can I just ask, why? This is actually the point that bugs me in the episode. The laughing gas. Why does it affect Mares and Arix the same way as it does the humans?
Plot.
Cause pain to Spock.
Plot. As simple as that.
Am I the only one who's annoyed at that one moment? Like,
kind of. I forgive her for so much before then. It would justify it in my head. I thought, there's one more thing in it. It just added to the pile.
You're just heaping it into the bucket.
For me, it's even more annoying because of how much I forgive it for. That I expect them to be realistic about the alien species aboard the ship.
I think it's just another way to highlight Spock.
It kind of is.
Yeah, I kind of just, at those points, it's very much like, how did they get,
Spock.
Yeah.
The drama llama. Look at him.
Yeah, so, I just kind of roll my eyes at points like that. I just, it really doesn't bother me, those type of things, because there are some moments in these episodes across all series, and you think, why did they do that? But then you think, plot. But yes, moving on, obviously, past this to them, the laughing gas, and then obviously the ship. This is the part that I kind of laughed, because I was just like, this is the most ridiculous thing ever. The ship then fabricates a giant ship-shaped balloon, and I was like, where did they get the balloon from? What? And then I was like, replicator. It's gonna be. They're gonna have an industrial sized replicator. It's come from there, and obviously.
The place to get the rubber fork from.
Yeah, and then obviously the Romulans attack that ship, because obviously they're drawn to it. But I was like, but the Romulans would have scanned the ships. They would see that there's nothing there.
Well, they did, if you remember. They did, and then it was like, wait a minute. The ship isn't responding to hails, it's not responding to radio. And they didn't check to see, hey, is it hollow?
But they didn't scan, like they did comms and they did, those type of things, but they didn't scan it. Like, I think maybe I'm so used to more current episodes where they scan for life signals, they scan for, they scan for life signs, they scan for this, they scan for that, they scan for energy signatures, but they didn't do any of that. They literally just comms
Plot.
I know,
Plot.
Well, then again, that's plot, and that's also Romulan.
But you know what I mean? Like, for Romulans,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have expected them to be that silly.
As impulsive?
No, I wouldn't have expected them to be that silly. And obviously, yes, Kirk says, "Oh yeah, the Romulans will be infuriated because they failed."
Yes.
That's how I justified it in my head. I thought, oh, they're raging. They're just chasing them, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll just quickly shoot at them.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
In my head,
it was just.
I mean,
it was
again,
just,
plot.
Yeah, it very much feels like it was. A lot of the points on this episode are just down to plot, and it's not as logical as I'm used to from the animated series.
Yeah, though I will admit, one of the things that I did like about this episode overall, before this point, is that it kind of does show some of the sort of day-to-day of the Enterprise. Like, it shows the officers' mess. Mm-hmm. It shows sort of the standard mess hall.
Yeah.
So you get into that a little bit, even as you're continuing. You get the rec room even.
Yeah.
You know? Where before we only see the gym.
Scotty's food order. Grilled cheese on rye.
Exactly. Grilled cheese on rye. I mean, it's a respectable sandwich, I guess.
Yes.
No shame there. Hey. Though, wouldn't... perhaps this is me having watched too many British cooking channels, and all of our people in the UK, please, tell me, wouldn't you have called it a cheese toasty on rye?
No, totally different things.
Yeah.
No?
It's just a cheese toasty.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you make it with rye, it has to be a grilled cheese? Okay.
It's similar but different.
Yeah.
Please explain to the Americans.
It's hard to explain. It's inbuilt Britishness.
Well, let's sidebar here. What's the difference between a cheese toasty and a grilled cheese?
You don't make one of them in a pan.
Okay, assuming neither is getting made in a pan and they're getting replicated.
But that's what it would be. There'd be a difference. It would be in the order.
Yeah.
Because a
toasty it's a pocket.
Yeah, a toasty is a pocket.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
so you want to crimp at the sides.
But as Phoebe said, wouldn't have called it anything on rye. We don't necessarily use that.
Right. You don't have rye regularly.
But we wouldn't have said we want that on rye or any other type of bread. We would have just said, I don't know. It's
white or brown.
Yeah, white or brown bread. It would have been as simple as that.
But what if you want rye bread? I mean,
that's
then you get a grilled cheese sandwich.
Okay, so we got a grilled cheese sandwich on rye. Okay,
cool. That's
no,
it. We don't go into that many bread options. We've literally got white or brown or
wholemeal.
Wholemeal.
How do you not have?
But then I would have said that it's just brown bread.
But how do you not have rye bread or pumpernickel or?
Because we don't.
Once you achieve perfection, why go further?
Yeah, we've got proper bread. We've got decent
bread.
It's
called seeded rye.
We've got decent breads. We don't need it. But yes,
we have decent breads called seeded rye.
You guys have got so much sugar in it, man.
No, the rye bread does not have sugar. It's the white bread that has sugar.
No. I've had American bread, never again. But yes, going back to the episode in hand, because we do not have much time. We've literally got 10 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We get back to this episode, and obviously the Romulans are infuriated with being embarrassed. And obviously they give chase, and Kirk kind of shows his fear in this episode at the prospect of going back in the cloud. And the computer just decides that she's going back in the cloud. She doesn't. She kind of does it. She just goes straight back in. And obviously then we get the jokesters. Yes, and
somehow going back in the cloud reversed the effect instead of making them worse.
Yes, which plot.
Yeah, fair play, right? It's plot. But also the fact that the Romulan ships actually the last line gets me, where the Romulans are talking about we're getting drowned in desserts. What I find interesting is that the Enterprise computer, because Scotty and the rest of them treat the computer pretty well, even on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Created healthy foods. You know, the worst that it did was a fried egg or a pie in the face.
Yeah.
The Romulans get inundated in unhealthy sweet desserts.
Yes.
And from what we've seen of Romulan food, it's probably sticky honey crap that's getting in all the carpets.
Yeah,
and we know that Romulan ships are carpeted.
It's definitely, you know, it's definitely an interesting way to end this episode. But let's see, what are your scores for this episode?
Oh Lord.
Me or you first?
Both of you, because I don't vote.
Guest.
Oh right.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
So what's your score, Chris?
I'm giving it a 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5? Okay.
Yeah. First introduction to the animated series, which is good. I like the style. Got a feeling nostalgia, but yeah, it was a bit crap.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I have to admit that I kind of have to go 2 out of 5 as well.
So this is actually the lowest scored episode then.
So far.
Yeah. We've only got 3 more episodes left because this is episode 4.
Yeah. Now,
isn't
mind you, it's
Yeah.
But
so
I will say,
season 2, episode 3.
My 2 is more like a 2.5. It's like it's still Star Trek. It's still watchable to me. But you kind of have to get into that whimsical mindset.
Yeah, and I very much wasn't prepared for that. And no, Chris hasn't eaten a sausage roll on stream yet. That's next episode.
Nope. Yes. But
we haven't decided.
I will say the next 2 episodes are actually quite good in my eyes. So we're gonna see the scores come. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that because the scores for the next 2 episodes will come up and will improve.
Well, we'll see when I watch them. But yes, for this episode, I haven't got anything more to add. We've still got a few more events for Obsidian Day weekend. We've got food and drink in Star Trek with Cam, which should be there pretty much as we end this stream, and then we have got the awards after with the lovely Paul, who has graced us with his presence at some point. And if you can, please give the votes. Should Chris eat a sausage roll? Yes, no, or what's a Chris? A vote, because I believe Dulac has decided to join me in being an admin on this stream tonight. It's either Chris or it's Paul.
Yes.
Or it might even be Emu, to be fair, because they've all got access. So, you know, it's any of them. But they are admin here with me tonight.
Yes, it's anybody but me. Right?
But yes, so for this episode, I've got nothing more to say. Have either of you got anything left to say?
Thanks for having
Kirk
us
is a
on.
jerk.
Yes, and Chris,
live long and prosper, my friend.
You're welcome back at any point. I definitely think
yes, Chris, please.
You should come back again. And
yeah, if you'll have us.
Definitely. I think you should. But it looks like it was actually Paul who's been admin with me tonight. So thank you, Paul, for your lovely input. But yes, until next time, stay lovely, stay logical, and enjoy the rest of Obsidian Day weekend. Bye.
Bye.
In the vastness of the stars.